PLUMBEX India is India's 2025 stands as a pivotal convergence of innovation and collaboration.
Shri Abhay Purohit ji, Mr. Soren, Tom Palkan, Dikroz Masalamani, all my fellow members of IPA National Executive Board, esteemed dignitaries and business leaders, senior government officers and policy makers, members of IPA National Executive Committee and Delhi Executive Committee members, PLUMBEX 2025 industry partners, exhibitors and our distinguished audience. I extend a warm and heartfelt welcome to all of you to PLUMBEX 2025. The vision of Viksit Bharat at 2047, as envisioned by our Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji, has inspired and energized the entire nation. It is a collective dream, a mission to build a developed India by 2047. And this dream encompasses the assurance of 24/7 access to clean drinking water and a holistic commitment to health, hygiene and environmental sustainability through effective water and sanitation systems. Friends, plumbing is at the very core of this vision. Whether in a modern city, a gated community, a bustling mall, a hospitality hub or a large infrastructure project, water, sanitation and plumbing must be prioritized. It is the only service directly impacting human health, hygiene and environmental well-being. For over 32 years, Indian Plumbing Association has been at the forefront of redefining plumbing standards in India. Let us, as stakeholders from across the construction, installer or end user, to explore, adopt cutting-edge product innovations and technologies that are on and wish you all a highly productive, insightful and enriching experience as plumbing.
Dikroz Masalamani has come all the way from Singapore, President Singapore Plumbing Society. Mr. Tom Palkan is here from Chicago, Chief Technical Officer and India Director, International Association of Plumbing and Mechanical Officials, dignitaries on and off the dais, my fellow IPA National Executive Council compatriots, members of the press and media. Dear friends, I heartily welcome you with folded hands to this August gathering of the PLUMBEX India 2025. I am indeed delighted to see the growth of PLUMBEX over the last few years, where we have grown to a whopping 1,25,000 square feet, exhibiting plumbing, water and sanitation solutions, striving to make Bharat water positive. I would like to relate to you some alarming facts. India's water treatment market size was valued at $2.3 billion in 2024. The water treatment industry is projected to grow from $2.54 billion in 2025 to a whopping $6.3 billion by 2034. That's a compounded annual growth rate of 10.6% over 9 years. The overgrowth phase of India's bottled water industry, currently estimated at $6.77 billion in 2025, is expected to nearly double to $12.56 billion by 2030. Alarming CAGR of 13.17% in the next 5 years.
As some of you might know, Denmark is consecutively being voted one of the most sustainable countries in the world. And that is to a high degree in our innovative way of managing water in the full water system. And that is also why India and Denmark has joined into a partnership, the Green City Partnership that our Prime Minister launched back in 2020, which is not just a partnership where you have dignitaries shaking hands saying we're partners, but actually a mutually agreed action-oriented plan of 64 points many of them touching upon how Denmark and India can work together on water. As the government said very clearly, he raised the flag about the challenges that are facing India. India has about 3% of the world's water and 17% of the world's population, and is facing issues when it comes to how to tackle this. And this is where Denmark worked very closely with the Ministry of Infrastructure. We work with the National Mission for Clean Ganga. We work with the Strategic Mission, and we work also on startups. So you mentioned your cooperation with the Atom Mission, and I'm sure that Nancy will be very happy about how we work with Atom Mission with Innovation Center Denmark on the annual water challenge, bringing Indian startups and engineers tackling challenges today to get more water tomorrow. Now, we started our sustainable water journey about 40 years ago. We faced many of the same issues that India is facing today. We had depleting water bodies, we had massive pollution in our water bodies, and we then started with a progressive taxation, which is easy for a rich country like Denmark. We just tax it, and then we implement behavior because people don't want to pay too much out of their pocket. Now that is of course not in the same way possible in India. We know that about 98% of the water used is used in agriculture, and they are not in a position to pay. But what our journey was for the last 40 years was that we halved our water consumption within 4 years. While
we would say it is practice. And the innovative solutions, there also is a need to basically acclimatize the population. Awareness is one of the key issues. If we are not going to work on that as such, we all know that we are going to exhaust the resources from the planet of Earth. Is a very loose term. I would say that it is threatening for the human race, and that is where we should be concerned about. Because we are very, very vulnerable. It's not easy for the human beings to actually survive. We require a specific quantum of air, specific quantum of a purity. We require the water of that nature, and so on and so forth. We cannot sustain the temperatures which are going to go beyond certain limits, and what we are essentially talking about is survival of the human race, which is supposed to be the most intelligent race on the surface of the earth, but at the same point of time is capable of doing all sorts of the foolish things which has been anticipated up till now. So far so, alright. It's our responsibility, possibly as a nation now, which has the highest population, which has been mentioned, the country which is now going to be a developed country, and our economy is going to increase, and there are the figures which are available, so on and so forth. When the population of the world is going to get aged, here is a young population which will be available, and you will be having a responsibility to also provide the services across the world. And naturally, that part of the world actually requires that kind of the services wherever the standards have been set, and that essentially means that our professionals also should be capable of acquiring those kind of the standards to match the global standards. And that is the challenge. And there where the associations like Indian Plumbing Association could also look at it in a very proper fashion. I am glad to also share with you that Council of Architecture and Indian Plumbing Association is also coming up with a program on education, whereupon we intend to basically educate even the architects.
The Indian Architectural Plumbing Day.
This is release of IPHA. W. I would also request Ms. Agarwal to say a few words.
ushered in a new kind of order.
ये दिल्ली में आपका जो पानी है वो 200 किलोमीटर दूर से आता है, क्योंकि दिल्ली की जो यमुना, हम जो दिल्ली में जो वेस्ट वाटर है, जो हम पानी जो वापरते हैं, वो पानी हम ट्रीट नहीं करते। 65% पानी दिल्ली में ट्रीट नहीं होता, और वही गंदा पानी हमारे अच्छे पानी में जाके अच्छे पानी को भी ख़राब करता है। इसलिए अगर आप ट्रांस यमुना नोएडा जाते हो, यमुना देखते हो, तो वहाँ पर यमुना पूरी खाली हो गई है। अब आप ये सिंगापुर से आए हैं, सिंगापुर प्लम्बिंग सोसाइटी के प्रेसिडेंट हैं, जहाँ हर यूज पानी, ग्रे या ब्लैक वाटर, हर पानी ट्रीट होता है और रीयूज़ होता है। अभी इंडस्ट्री को देते हैं, पहले पीने के लिए भी देते थे, लेकिन पीने के लिए क्या है कि वही पानी हम पूजा के लिए वापरेंगे या वही पानी कोई रिलीजियस सेरेमनी के लिए वापरेंगे तो वो अच्छा नहीं लगता, इसलिए वो इंडस्ट्री को दे रहे हैं। इंडस्ट्री आज 15 से 20% पानी यूज़ करती है, 70% पानी एग्रीकल्चर के लिए जाता है। इसलिए अगर पानी की शॉर्टेज हो, हमारी देश में 18% पूरी दुनिया की आबादी है, लेकिन सिर्फ 4% फ्रेश वाटर है, तो ऑलरेडी हमारे पास प्रॉब्लम है ये। और अगर हम अपने अच्छे पानी को भी गंदा करते जाएंगे, वो पानी फिर यूज़ के लिए नहीं रहेगा। इसलिए बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है, ये एग्जीबिशन शोकेस कर रहा है टेक्नोलॉजीज़ कि कैसे हम पहले अपने नल में, अपने शावर में, अपने फ्लश में, अपने यूरिनल में कैसे हम पानी बचा सकते हैं। एरेटर्स डाल के 50% पानी हम वहाँ सेव कर सकते हैं। अगर मैं 50% पानी सेव करूँगा तो मेरा 50% गंदा पानी भी कम बनेगा, मेरे को ट्रीटमेंट भी कम करनी पड़ेगी। कैसे हम जन संचय जल भागीदारी, जो गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया जल शक्ति मिनिस्ट्री की स्कीम है, जहाँ पर हम अपना ग्राउंड वाटर को रिचार्ज करें, रिचार्ज पिट्स बनाने के बाद, तो कैसे आज ये 1 मिलियन पिट बन गए हैं जल शक्ति मिनिस्ट्री के नीचे, नेशनल वाटर मिशन के नीचे। तो ये प्रोग्राम चल रहा है इंडिया में, और कैसे हम अपना ग्राउंड वाटर को रिचार्ज करें। ज़रूरी नहीं है कि स्टोर करना है रेन वाटर हार्वेस्टिंग, क्योंकि 70% हमारा पानी ग्राउंड वाटर से आता है। इसलिए अगर हम वो ग्राउंड वाटर को रिचार्ज करें, हम आगे के लिए, हमारी आगे की पीढ़ियों के लिए हम पानी बचा सकते हैं। और तीसरी चीज़, कैसे हम पानी को ट्रीट करें। ट्रीटमेंट के अलग अलग मेथड्स हैं, यूवी, अल्ट्रावायलेट है, सीवेज ट्रीटमेंट प्लांट है, तो कैसे हम ये आरओ है, रिवर्स ऑस्मोसिस, तो कैसे हम पानी को ट्रीट करके उसको रीयूज़ करें अपने अप्रोप्रिएट यूज़ के लिए। आज ऐसे बहुत से बिल्डर हैं जो पानी को ट्रीट करके फ्लशिंग के लिए यूज़ करते हैं, पीने के लिए नहीं करते, लेकिन कुछ ना कुछ तो हम यूज़ कर सकते हैं उसको, हम हमारा फ्रेश वाटर तो बचा सकते हैं। तो ये एग्जीबिशन में यही सब टेक्नोलॉजीज़ बताई गई है। यहाँ पर बहुत से स्टार्टअप को भी हमने बहुत सस्ते में स्टॉल दिया है, 50% में स्टॉल दिया है कि वो अपने प्रोडक्ट को डिस्प्ले करें, क्योंकि इंडिया में स्टार्टअप सिस्टम बहुत बड़ा हो गया है और बहुत से स्टार्टअप हैं पानी के सेक्टर में, सैनिटेशन के सेक्टर में। वी हैव आशीर्वाद, वी हैव एस्ट्रल, वी हैव प्रिंस पाइप्स, वी हैव Below pumps, we have lot of water treatment companies like Daiiki Access. So the entire supply chain of water, from the water, we have Serra, we have lot of tap manufacturers. So from the supply chain of water to rainwater harvesting to the treatment of water, we have the entire supply chain of the water industry here at the exhibition. Sir, let me tell you, I'm also part of the Indian Green Building Council, which is part of CII, where we have lot of buildings which are net zero water. What I mean by net zero water is that the entire water used in that premise is treated and reused for its applicable use. So I am not only saving water, because water is linked to energy, what we call water G. The more water, as I told you in my speech today also, water comes in Delhi also from 200 kilometers away. What is the real cost of water? So water, you use pumps for pumping water in your premises. So water is linked to energy. You save water, you'll save money, and therefore it is not more expensive to make a net zero building today. If you look at a green building in the Indian Green Building Council, if you make a commercial building, it is 3 to 4% cheaper to make than a normal building. So if I have two buildings here, one is IGBC certified, commercial I'm talking about, it will be cheaper by 3 to 5% to construct. As far as a residential building is concerned, it costs 3 to 5% more. But the fact is that a residential building, if I am able to save 50% of my power cost, if I am able to save 50% of my water consumption, I am able to recycle my 50% waste, I am producing money, I am saving money. So my ROI, return on investment, is not less than 6 months. So it makes business sense to go green, it makes business sense to save water. मार्केट में बहुत बड़ा परिवर्तन ये लाएगा कि पहले तो आपको आपकी पानी की कंजम्पशन ही नहीं पता।
So in the U.S., we do have water efficiency codes. Uniform Plumbing Code, which IATMO writes. We have a code called We Stand. It's a water efficiency code. And in India, we have a code called WEPI. It's a standard, the WEPI code, and that is for toilet water efficiency and for tap water efficiency. So we built our lab in Bengaluru. We have just inaugurated the water efficiency portion of that lab just this week. And this will allow urban areas, rural areas to use products that save water. They don't waste as much water. So it's extremely important wherever you live, rural or in urban areas, to use WEPI certified products. Our lab can do testing, other labs can do testing, and hopefully the Indian government will want to adopt more plumbing codes, building codes. We write codes here for the Indian market, and we're always happy to work with BIS so we can adopt those as national standards in India as well.
Sir, India's plumbing sector is often perceived as a developing sector, unorganized. But what would it take for India to build a world-class plumbing workforce like the US?
So to develop a world-class plumbing workforce, organizations like IPA are already starting that effort. What you need is the industry, the government to understand that plumbers need to be professionals. They need training, they need certification, they need education. Everyone just can't be a plumber with a few weeks training. You need a lot of training to do things properly. You need to understand the building codes, the plumbing codes. You need to understand quality products, safe products, certified products. So what you need is the government to mandate some professional certification requirements for people and for products.